everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today we're gonna do a garden tour. A little windy, but we're gonna do a garden tour. So guys, it has been super hot in my garden this week, and I mean, when I say hot, I mean like 102, 101, 99 degrees hot. So I'm excited for today because it's a little bit cooler. It's only going to be 91 degrees and it's a little bit windy, as you can probably see. So let's show you what I have going on in my garden so you can kind of see what's growing. Alright guys, so my sweet marjoram is starting to really make a comeback. And my herb bed, I've been slowly grabbing some herbs, letting them grow back, cutting them back, and all that kind of fun stuff. But as you can see, the sweet marjoram making a comeback. The oregano starting to make a little bit of a comeback. This one is a purple basil that's not getting enough sun, so that's why it's not purple. When you guys have plants with, I think it's anthocyanin in them, and they change like purple or like black or different things like that, the more sun they get, the more they turn those colors. So by this one being underneath the shade cloth, it's not turning as bright purple as it normally is. And then I have some rosemary, some parsley back here, some parsley here, and some sage. I have the purple sage, which as you can see, that one's not turning as purple as it could have been. And then I have garden sage, and then I have a really pretty variegated sage. And then I also have some more rosemary. My lemon thyme is doing well. And then I have some garlic chives. You know, one thing I find really interesting is that a lot of times if you're wanting things like, say, thyme for instance, my lemon thyme is doing really well with the heat, but my Greek thyme has already died back. So maybe one thing that you guys can do if you're wanting to have an herb bed all year long are plant different types of varieties of them. So then that way, maybe when one dies back, you'll have the other, but you'll still have that same herb and the same flavor and benefits. So guys, I am super excited to show you my cucumber plant on my mighty crop because look at here. Look at that beauty. That is coming off tomorrow. And I think that I have maybe at least one or two on here. If you guys are getting them like this, that look like that, that just means that they didn't get pollinated. And it has been a tricky business having them underneath the shade cloth, but so far we at least have one that's been pollinated. And then I have the Prescott tomato, and in the back here, let's go on this side. Look at my watermelon, guys. It is starting to look and search and reach for things. So I have this one is a sugar baby watermelon. My collards I have been leaving for the insects. As you can see, they're starting to get insect damage because I don't keep this covered unless it's super hot because I want the melons to grow fine. So these ones I'm just leaving right now because I don't need the space, so I'm just letting the insects have them. And then down below here I have a full-size cantaloupe. This one is a Hall's Best cantaloupe, and the rats ate some of the leaves off of that one, but it's starting to grow back. My Swiss chard is doing really well, and then so is my kale. It's doing pretty good too as well. And then we have a black diamond watermelon on this side that's starting to grow. So hopefully the plan is to have watermelon, cantaloupe, and watermelon, and for them to fill the entire bed with beautiful leaves and melons. I did just get this sweet banana pepper. This one was an impulse buy because it was only like $1 on sale, so I bought that one, and it's kind of just quarantining and getting some sun. And then the artichoke is still being the artichoke. So guys, I have super high hopes for this melon bed. I think that it's gonna be really well. But I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I know melons can grow in Arizona in the middle of the summer, but I am really worried at the fact that it's so hot so soon. I feel like we're gonna be in for one of those really hot summers. Now moving right along, we have the Texas wild cherry. Now this one was stuck in a pot for a long time, which is why these leaves down here are so yellow, because it was stuck in the little pot when I didn't have a place for it. So it's starting to green up, or at least all the new leaves are coming in pretty green. So I'm not too worried about it. I've just been giving it some fertilizer and hoping for the best. My shishitos, on the other hand, guys, look at all these little shishito peppers all in here. Like, this is really nice to be getting so many more shishito peppers. I'm telling you, if there's one plant that you need to plant, it is a shishito pepper plant, because they are amazing. And then ground cherries, which I think I have one in here on the ground. So let's open it up and try it. So I'm not 100% sure on how to grow a ground cherry, because this is my first year growing them, and this is my first time trying one. Okay, everyone was right. They're super sweet, and they're delicious. That is really sweet, and I thought it was going to taste more like a tomato, but it's not. It's not even really like a tomatillo. It's kind of like the texture of a tomatillo, but sweet. I like that, guys. So for being honest, I don't think I would have the patience to unwrap individually each one of these and then do something with it. But I have, for the past 5 minutes, been sitting there picking all the ones that were ripe off, because these little things are like garden candy. They're super sweet and pretty delicious. Now, will I grow an entire field of them and sit there and individually unwrap each one of them? I don't think so. But will I always grow a pot full so that I can come outside and pick a couple off while I'm gardening? 100%. And I suggest you guys do the same. So we also have in the pots borage, looking so beautiful. I need to figure out what all I want to do with that, because it is a medicinal plant, and I don't know if I'm supposed to use just the flowers or the flowers and the leaves. So if somebody knows anything about borage, comment down below and let me know. And then I also have some rosemary that I've started using. My pepper plants are doing really well. I now have 2 pepper plants that are producing jalapeno peppers. One is there and one's over there. And then I have my basil down here that's doing pretty good in the 100 sweets pot. And these ones are starting to ripen all. I'm waiting for them all to ripen, and then I'm going to take this plant out, because I do think I want to plant another midget cantaloupe here. And then I have some more chamomile right here in this one, and this one is a purple echinacea. And then I have some eggplant right there, and another eggplant right here, which I'm waiting for the eggplants to eventually get done and ripen up, but you can see they're coming in right there. Guys, would you look at this big spider right here? It now lives here, and I don't like to disturb it because it does keep all the bugs out of this area. As you guys can see, there's no bugs over here, but it hates when I water. Like, it really hates the water hose. So coming into the actual dirt area, my Kentucky Wonder beans are dying, 100% dying, which I knew that was going to happen. But if you guys look down here, that is the first one to pop up of the Chinese red long noodle beans. And oh, look, actually nope, we have another one right there. So those are going to be taking its place. I have another shishito pepper over here that is doing wonderfully and getting nice and tall. And then I have a basil plant right in front of it. Now, my Malabar spinach, guys, I am starting that already in the house, and I'm just getting all of the dried little beans off of it. So these are going to be in our Etsy store when I get done with it. Now, I talked about how I was putting over a shade cloth coming off of this part right here to cover more so this squash and that one, and it is really helping. As you can see, it's starting to darken up versus last week when it was pretty yellow. So when it comes to growing in your backyard in Arizona, one of the biggest things is how much shade cloth do you need, where do you need the shade cloth, and which direction do you need the shade cloth to be protecting the plant. Because sometimes you can have too much shade cloth where the plant isn't getting enough sun, and then sometimes it can still be getting too much sun even though you're covering one part of it. So you're just going to have to kind of mess with that and see. Now over here we have our big, beautiful beefsteak tomato. Look at all those red tomatoes. Yet again, I'm super excited for tomorrow's harvest video when we get those. But then look at this, guys. The new Prescott tomato that is coming in to take its place is now got a lot of little tomatoes on it. So that one is coming in nice and healthy, and I'm pretty excited about that. Then over here we have our bell peppers that are, oh, got a little flower right there, so that one's starting to come in. And our Armenian cucumber is starting to come in too. Now I planted some seeds down here. They haven't popped up yet, but hopefully I get at least one more Armenian cucumber. As well, over there I planted a loofah seeds. So I'm hoping that the loofah grows in, and the Armenian, I really need two in order to make this part of the arch pretty full. So what I'm doing with the Armenian cucumber, the Chinese red lung noodle beans, and the loofah is I'm trying to create a bit of natural shade for some of the things that are below it that maybe can't take as much heat as those plants can. Those ones can take a lot of the Arizona brutal heat, and I know that if I plant those, they'll protect whatever's underneath them. So I just need them to grow in nice and tall, but they do require a lot of heat in order for them to really germinate and for them to really get going. So I'm a little nervous, but I think we can make this happen. Now in these pots I have another chamomile, which I'm trying to grow a ton of chamomile this year, and then I also have another mint coming up right now too as well. So guys, I just want to take a moment from the garden tour just to talk about something a little bit more serious, just for a minute. As you know, the Benson household is a mixed family household, and if you guys haven't seen on the news or anything like that, there is a lot of conflict that's going on in the Middle East, and I wanted to kind of bring awareness to it, just because we feel, especially as people that are always trying to build and grow our community, that it's really important just to kind of take time to learn about one another and also to understand one another. As our household and as we grow as a family, we always believe that it's important to have an understanding, even if it's just one bit about another person, but have that understanding of your fellow neighbor. And by you being able to understand them and them understand you, it can reduce a lot of conflict, just because then you can see what each other offers as a community for the community as a whole. So I just wanted to take a second and tell you guys, do some research about what's going on around the world, because just because it's not affecting you in your city, in your state, or your country, eventually it will. But if we can learn to love and respect and just really understand one another, I think that it can solve a lot of problems around the world with just a lot of different conflicts. So that's all I wanted to say, guys. Now my big giant cherry tomato, guys, is coming out tomorrow. But as you can see, I left it in here because I knew it was going to start to ripen up. Look at all of those red little cherry tomatoes. Now the plant looked dead last week, but I left it in, and now I'm getting my reward. So I'm hoping by tomorrow there'll be even more of them, so that when I go to pick them, they'll all be perfectly ripe. So sometimes you're gonna still have fruit on your plant and it's going to be dead, like to where you just need to give up on it. But then there's sometimes where there's a little bit enough of a life left in the plant that it will ripen up all of the fruit, and then you can still get yourself your one last harvest. So tomorrow's video, guys, will be that one last harvest of my black cherry tomato, at least until I put it back in the fall, because that one is going to be a staple in my garden. So my strawberries here, the only ones that stay fully covered, and they're still green, still trying to produce more strawberries, not growing too much, but at least they're not dead, so I'll count that as a win. And my lemongrass is still doing amazing. I do need to cut this one back, as well as come in here and grab all of the flowers that are coming up on this chamomile. And look at this, guys. Toothache plant is doing amazing, and so is the roselle is doing really good too. And then I have a purple echinacea and a catnip that is trying to make another comeback. Now here's a little bit of a pride and joy. This is my midget cantaloupe which is finally growing up its arch the way it's supposed to. And then I have some beans below it, which I know I should not have planted green beans, but I couldn't resist. I also planted green beans in the middle, which I know should have been cowpeas. And I planted green beans on this side, and look at this cucumber plant. Now this one is a long green, I think is what it's called, cucumber plant. One of our amazing subscribers sent this one to me, so I'm excited about growing this one. And then we have the bush tomato plant, and we have the Prescott tomato. So I am so excited about my patio arch. My patio arch is doing what I want my big arches to do. It's filling in nice and beautiful, and it's going to be really, really beautiful with an arch of just melons and cucumbers and green beautiful leaves. Now if I can just get my big arches to cooperate, then my whole garden will be stunning. Now over here we have our straight neck squash, and then we have our crick neck squash, and they're all next to the lime tree, which is still doing really, really good. But I think I'm gonna cut this short because this AC unit just does not want to come off. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour, and I hope you guys also take a little bit of time out of your day to just research what's going on in different parts of the world too as well, because we want to make sure that we are building as a community and understanding one another. But until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.